ReliaQuest mental performance coaches Dr. Nicole Detling and Derin McMains interview top performers across multiple industries to unpack the strategies and the mindset they use to get the job done. Welcome to No Show Dogs, powered by ReliaQuest. Hey, welcome back to the No Show Dogs podcast, powered by ReliaQuest. My name's Derin McMains, and I'm alongside my co-host, as always, Dr. Nicole Detling. Doc, what's going on, man?
Not much. Having a great day. Looking forward to our guest today. I'm super stoked about this one.
Oh, we haven't done an episode like this before, right? For those of you that have subscribed, you've heard, a lot of Olympians or people in professional sports, performers in some of the biggest, most pressure-packed arenas. This one, we have never had a country music star before. So we're so fired up here. Scotty Hasting, welcome to No Show Dogs.
Thank you. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Doc, go ahead and catch everybody up on who
Yeah.
Scotty is, and then let's just jump into this.
Yes. So songwriter, artist, and Army veteran Scotty Hasting. In April of 2011, Scotty was left fighting for his life, flying out of Afghanistan on a medevac after being shot 10 times. Narrowly escaping death, Hasting was left with severe nerve damage to his right hand and a loss of purpose as he was unable to continue his journey in the Army. The Purple Heart recipient filled the void with a newfound love for adaptive sports as a competitive archery became his primary outlet to cope with PTSD until 2020 when COVID-19 hit and shut down most of the world. Not one to lay down and accept defeat, the former Army infantryman picked up the unused guitar that sat in the corner of his room, opened YouTube, and set out to teach himself how to master the instrument in hopes of fighting the isolation and silence. Hasting was immediately overtaken by his new passion after learning his first song, Should Have Been a Cowboy, by Toby Keith. And honestly, Scott, I got to say, since reading that, I can't get the song out of my head. It's just going over and over and over.
It's a great one.
Yes. He began to write his own original music and attended his first open mic night in Cookeville, Tennessee, a night that changed his life forever as he found that he was able to escape his PTSD while on stage performing. Despite only first picking up a guitar in 2020, Scotty's already opened for incredible artists, including Tanya Tucker, Jelly Roll, and more. He has taken the stage for numerous performances at Nashville's Grand Prix and also recently represented the U.S. with multiple performances in Normandy, France, during a week-long celebration commemorating the 80th anniversary of D-Day. In addition, he has recorded a special version of the deeply personal song Till the Last Shots Fired with Lee Brice and Dolly Parton. Scotty is now on a mission to help anyone struggling with loss or mental health find solace through his music. Absolutely amazing, Scotty. And honestly, I had to cut a lot out of your bio.
Yeah, I've lived a lot of different lives. Absolutely.
Yeah, you really have. You really have. So let's just start. Can you just begin by taking us through your journey from the army to para archery to now breaking into the music industry?
Yeah. I've been incredibly lucky in the sense that I have had some type of escape. There's a lot of veterans that suffer from PTSD, depression, and anxiety the way that I do, and they're not lucky enough to be able to find an escape or something until they really look. And I've been lucky enough to have that. I got out of the military and I fell in love with adaptive sports and I fell in love with archery. And archery for me, for the 7 seconds before I released that arrow, like nothing else in the world mattered. The PTSD, the depression, the anxiety, it was all gone. And I lived for those 7 seconds. And then, not only that, but with the Paralympic program, because this is when I first met you, like it was the camaraderie. You were with the guys again, and I was able to, and archery was there and it was therapeutic and it was healing and it was there when I needed it the most. And so were the guys that we were with. And then COVID happened and the world shut down and archery shut down and I needed something, when it gets quiet is when the demons knock the loudest, and COVID was very quiet. And I needed something to get out of my head. I needed something to focus on. And that's when I grabbed the guitar out of the corner of my room and decided that I was going to learn how to do it. I figured that learning how to play the guitar, was going to be challenging, and even more so because I have nerve damage in my hand. I have limited movement in my hand. So I needed I needed something that I knew was going to be hard. I needed something that I knew that was going to be challenging so that I could really focus on it and I could really get out of my head and deep dive into this. And I did, and I started learning how to play. And then from there, I jumped back on YouTube and I was like, man, I want to learn. Like, I have all these thoughts and I have all these emotions and I want to put them somewhere. Like, I have to put them somewhere before the cup overflows. Like, I have to get them out of me and put them somewhere. So that's when I started learning how to write songs. And I wrote, some songs that were basically just word vomit on a piece of paper. I mean, they were not songs. They were just like, I'm just going to put these out. And, those songs will never see the light of day because they're awful. But for me, they were exactly what I needed when I needed it. I was dealing with a lot during COVID and I needed, some place to put all those feelings and all those thoughts. And and then fast forward a little bit, the world started opening up again. And I jumped on an open mic night in Cookeville, Tennessee, which is crazy. It was just, I don't know why, but I just felt compelled that I wanted to go do it. And I did. And I put my name on the list and went up on stage and played Should Have Been a Cowboy, the first song I ever learned how to play, because it's a super easy song to play and sing. And in that moment, I knew that this is what I needed to do forever. That 7 seconds that I had found in archery, it was there, but it was magnified 100 times. And now I had 3 minutes, and then I started finding out that Nashville started opening up, and I started finding out that you could play 3 to 4 hours a day on Broadway at a time. So now that little bit of, getting rid of the PTSD, the depression, the anxiety for 3 minutes, now I could do it for 3 hours. Now I had 3 to 4 hours a day where I could be in a moment and live in a moment. And I lived for those 3 to 4 hours a day. I to the point of where I was playing 5 to 6 days a week. I mean, my vocal cords hated me, but the need for that escape outweighed anything else. And so I did that. And now I'm, lucky enough to have a platform where hopefully I can try to help someone find something the way that I was able to.
It's incredible. Scotty,
wow.
When I hear that, when I first hear you describing it, was the guitar, country music, what you were doing, was it first an escape, and now would you still call it an escape, or is it more
100%? Absolutely.
Still an escape.
Yeah, it's 100% still an escape. It's just different. Now it not only is it an escape when I'm on stage or when I'm writing a song or whatever, but now it's an escape because now I get to escape into trying to help other people as well. So it's just kind of you kind of see it in a different face, right? Like, sure. It's still an escape, but it just looks a little bit different now. I mean, now I'm lucky enough to where my days are truly filled with music. That's all I could ask for. It's incredible.
I love it. You know what I kind of think about it? It's like, early on, it felt like an escape for you. Mm-hmm. And now it's like an escape for you that brings meaning through an escape for others. Right?
100%. It's really cool. It went from being escape to finding a purpose. That's one thing, like, I feel like people who suffer, from PTSD, depression, and anxiety, the one thing that they're missing the most is that purpose, especially coming out of the military where you had a purpose and it was very clear. Like, this was your job. This is what you did this mission. This was your purpose. No matter what, this was it. And then you lose that. And now you're just kind of stuck with, well, how do I find that again? And, I was lucky enough to be able to find that. And now I have that in so many different facets within this world of music, not only in my new purpose of trying to create great music, but trying to write great songs, but also trying to help people with what I'm doing, whether it be with my story or with my music or, just being able to talk to somebody that, is kind of hopeless and not sure what to do or how to do it. And I'm lucky enough to be able to be put in a position where I can help in some way, shape, or form.
That's incredible. Do you find people coming up to you after the show and talking to you about some of the things they're experiencing?
Absolutely. 100%. And the crazy part is it's not just veterans anymore. It was for a long time. It was just veterans. Just veterans would come up and they would talk and they'd be like, man, like, I want to find what you found. Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do it, blah, blah, blah. And now it's gotten to where it's just people who are struggling, period. It doesn't, like, it's not just veterans. It's, I've gotten to where my music and my story is speaking to people that, have never been there. There's very few people that can say they've been shot as many times as I have, but they can understand the depression. They can understand the anxiety. They can understand feeling alone in that. And that's that's a universal feeling. That's not just a veteran feeling. And I have a lot of people that come up, and I love it. That's one of my favorite parts of all this, is that I get to interact with people, and I get to try to help. And I mean, at the end of the day, like that's the most important thing that we can do in this world, is just try to help each other. And that's what I want to do. And that's what I plan on doing for, till I'm in a box.
Yeah. That's great.
So
man.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talk all the time about finding your purpose and knowing your why. And I think your story and the way you're describing it really shows the impact of actually finding that, and how that can not change your path for how you're getting there, but the mission, the focus is different, and it makes that path and that journey so much more fulfilling. And so
100%.
whether it's, through music or sports or dance or business or whatever it might be, having that purpose at the outset really makes a difference in how you journey along that path. And I just thank you for sharing that, because I think that that's a really important factor that a lot of people miss out on. DMAC and I are constantly talking about, knowing your purpose and finding your why. And people are like, okay, but why? Like, I'm good.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you for articulating that in a way that I think a lot of people will relate to.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I just, and I've been, like I said, I've been lucky enough to have that. First it was with archery, and I mean, you were there, you were front row seats to a lot of us. A lot of us finding a purpose in archery and the brotherhood that brought.
Yeah. The team is so fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's veterans, man. It's military through and through. Like that's the camaraderie that we all missed. And that's one of the reasons why so many of us stuck around within the para archery team, is we just, within the program, is we were there for each other. I mean, that was truly the most important part of the para program altogether, was the fact that we were all there. And we were all there to just be with each other. There were so many of us that we didn't care how we did archery related. We just wanted to be with the guys, we were just there to hang out.
Yeah. So that camaraderie, then the camaraderie in the archery, and then camaraderie in the Army, and how that transferred. So the camaraderie now with music, is that the people coming up to you afterwards and talking to you about their experiences?
Yeah. Well, a little bit, camaraderie now, again, it just has a different face, in the sense that, now I have a community of veterans that I can talk to, that I can speak with, that I can interact with, that I can hang out with. But not only that, but I also have a community within the industry. Like I have artists that are friends of mine, Craig Morgan, Nate Smith, Chris Young, like people like that are really great friends that, that kind of sparks that camaraderie as well. It looks a little bit different, because, the camaraderie between veterans and, someone who isn't a veteran is a little bit different. But at the end of the day, it's still that brotherhood. It's still that community. And, one amazing thing about country music is that there is a community. And a lot of that is, not only the artists as well, but songwriters, that I have songwriters that I work with that are really great friends of mine. And we work together because we enjoy being around each other. And yeah, I mean, I feel like you find it, and it, for veterans, you don't have to just find it in veterans. I mean, you can find it in other people.
Scotty, the music industry, man, it's notoriously difficult to break into. And from the time you picked up a guitar in 2020 and clicked on a YouTube link to 2024, essentially you've open for names that, as Doc mentioned at the top of the show, Jelly Roll, Tanya Tucker, even recorded a song with Dolly Parton. I mean, it's like rocket ship, man. Like,
oh man, it's insane. I mean, I was on the CMA Awards this year, which is wild.
I mean, let's go. So it's crazy, insane. Right? Crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
But this is what I think this is what maybe people might miss is like, I'm sure there have been barriers, man. There have been barriers, right? Even though it's a rocket ship, there's barriers that you've broken through. Like, what are some of those that you've broken through in these past 4 years, and like, how have you pushed through them?
Yeah. 100%. The biggest one, the most prevalent one, is the disability that I have. I mean, I have a disability where it makes it very, very difficult to play certain things on the guitar, and it makes it very hard. And then also, like, I have TBI, so I forget a lot of stuff. Thankfully now I have an incredible team and people that support me and are around me all the time, which is incredible. God, without them, I'd be lost. But, I think truly, there were so many barriers, especially like you said, in this industry. It is so hard. It is so hard to break through. And it's so hard to, I'm just, number one, I'm lucky that I have that I was shot 10 times. So people automatically pay attention and they're like, wait, what? Hold on.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. You're going to need to go into detail there a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, a lot, that's, as soon as people hear that, they immediately kind of perk up. But, there is one thing about this industry and about being successful in this industry is that you have to outwork everybody else. Like, talent in this industry can only take you so far. It truly depends on how hard you're willing, how much you want it, how hard you're willing to work, how much time you're willing to put into this. I mean, I tell people all the time, like, I am not the most talented person out here. There are so many people down on Broadway that have never been discovered that are way more talented than I ever am. But there is no one in Nashville that will outwork me. No one. And I think that is the most important part of this industry, is that you have to be willing to outwork everybody else. And, like I said, the talent, I mean, everyone's talented in Nashville, man, everyone. I mean, everyone comes here. Some of the greatest artists, some of the greatest performers I've ever met are sitting down on Broadway and they're playing, and it's, everyone here is incredible and they're amazing. And really that's, I think, the biggest barrier for the music industry is yourself. I mean, believing in yourself can take you a long way into this, believing that you have not really something that you want to say, but believing that you have a purpose for what you're trying to do. It can really help you push through just about anything. If I didn't have a purpose to want to help people with my music and my story, I don't know if I would be playing music right now, because it is very hard. But I know that I have the ability to help somebody, and that's what kind of keeps me moving, keeps me going.
No Show Dogs is brought to you by ReliaQuest, a global leader in cybersecurity. ReliaQuest helps enterprise cybersecurity teams increase visibility, reduce complexity, and manage risk through its security operations platform, Gray Matter. Powered by decades of experience and streamlined by AI and automation, ReliaQuest exists to make security possible. Learn more at ReliaQuest.com.
So when you say the biggest barrier is yourself, I think that's true in pretty much everything. Every industry in life, we're the ones that hold ourselves back more than anything else.
100%.
So can you give any tips on how you push through that? Those times when you're tired and you don't feel like working, your vocal cords are killing you. I don't want to go sing today.
Yeah. I mean, I say that, there's so many things within yourself in this industry that can be a huge barrier. Number one is the doubt, and because there are so many incredible artists out here. There's so many incredible musicians that you see them and you're like, man, I'm not as good as him. Like, dude, what am I trying to do? Like, he or she is incredible. Like, I can't hold up to that. I think that, like we said, I mean, having a sense of purpose can take you further than anything else. And I think as long as you hold on to that, then you can push through just about anything. As long as you truly believe that you have the ability to do something that means something, that's when you're able to kind of push through all the doubt and, all the barriers. And an amazing support system, honestly. Like, my family, my kids, my, Black River, my team here, my family here at Black River, like, that having them to support me, I mean, it means more than anything. And a lot of times just having people who believe in you will make you want to continue to push.
Awesome.
That's great. I want to talk about songwriting a little bit.
Yes.
And specifically, we're going to listen to here shortly just a little excerpt from your song, How Do You Choose, which is like unbelievably emotional, by the way. Like, Doc's like, hey, we're going to talk about this. Go listen to it. And I listened to it twice. And then I'm like, called my wife in here. I'm like, you got to listen to this. So it's like, she's like, how are you going to get through this interview? I was like, I have no idea. But okay. So we're going to talk about that in just a moment. So people hang tight. But first, just songwriting in general is so personal, right? Yes. I mean, you're sharing a piece of your soul
100%
with an audience. You're putting your soul in a message in a bottle, so you'll never see, right? But everybody gets to judge. Everybody gets to say that's good or that's bad, fair or unfair. And it's like, well, hold on, like, this is, anyway. So there's a lot that goes into that. So, but I think there's a lot of people that work in corporate, like marketing, maybe specifically, but there's a lot of like creatives that produce things that it's part of them. It's their soul, 100%. Right? And so, how have you been able to, I guess, navigate the subjectivity of like, that's not good, Scotty? And it's like, well, that's, like, how do you navigate like you being your creative self, you exposing your soul, you
Yeah.
sharing your soul with the world, and then someone coming back to me like, that's not very good, we don't like it?
Man, a lot of it is the fact that I feel like I don't have a choice, right? Like I feel like I put myself in a position now where I have to, if I want to do what I want to do in this industry, if I want to help people, I have to open my chest and let you see my soul and my heart. I have to. I have to make songs, I have to write songs that are a part of me and a part of things that I struggle with, because I know that there's people out there that struggle as well. So I have to be willing for everyone and anyone to see every part of me. But not only that, but there, yeah, man, like you write a song and that's your baby and that's your heart and soul. Like How Do You Choose? How Do You Choose is a song that is incredibly personal to me. Like that song is about my best friend that was killed in Afghanistan and my survivor's guilt, and it was put into words. And a lot of times yeah, man, if someone doesn't like it, it's hard. It really is. And it's really hard. I mean, rejection is hard, period, right? It doesn't matter what you're doing, but this is even more so because, it comes from a place where I'm just trying to help, man. Like this is my heart and soul, and I'm trying to throw it out there so that people can hear it and that it can help them. But there are people that are like, man, that's not good. And, you just kind of have to take it, you just have to kind of take it with a grain of salt, and you just have to, kind of hold on to the positive that came from it. Like, How Do You Choose? There have been people that have reached out to me and they're like, man, this song is not very good. But then there's people that reach out to me and they're like, this song changed my life.
Yeah.
Like this song gave me a voice when I didn't know what to say. And those are the things that you need to hold on to. You need to, and then not only that, but you need to hold on to the feelings that song brought you. Because at the end of the day, that's your heart and soul. That's your baby, man. Like you got to think about like, why did you write that? Did you write it so that other people could, judge it, or hopefully they love it? Or did you write it because you felt like you had to say it? And, for me, I try to write songs that I feel like I just have to say, and I kind of hold on to that. But not only that, but I try to write songs that I'm like, if this helps me, it'll help somebody. And,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
Yeah, it's more about the 1,000 people you're going to help than the one or two who didn't like it.
100%. There's always going to be people out there that are like,
Always.
man, yeah, this isn't good, or Scotty, you're too damn fat to be on a stage. Like, there's always going to be people that are going to cut you down. But you got to,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you got to remember your purpose for what you're
Yeah.
doing. And you
All
gotta
right. We've talked about the song. I'm going to play a clip of it here so we can talk about it. I'm just going to play the chorus.
How do you choose who comes back home? Who goes under an old gravestone? I'm just asking 'cause it makes no sense to me. Is it something that takes a little time? Does it even cross your mind? Or is this the way that it has to be? Tell me, God, did I win or lose? Why am I here? He's there with you. How do you choose?
So those lyrics you just heard say, how do you choose who comes back home? Who goes under an old gravestone? I'm just asking because it makes no sense to me. Is it something that takes a little time? Does it even cross your mind? Or is this the way that it has to be? Tell me, God, did I win or lose? Why am I here when he's there with you? How do you choose?
Oof. I
Powerful.
mean, first, like for listeners, I just hope they let that wash over them for a moment. Right. There's a lot of emotion there. When you sit down to write this, how do you process all those emotions and get them into words and get them out of you and onto paper and into chords and on a song and onto like, how do you do that, man? That's incredibly emotional and powerful.
Sometimes it's a struggle, but sometimes it just kind of flows, man. It's, this song is a song that I didn't want to write. I knew that this song, this idea, this thought was going to bring up things that I had pushed down for a very long time. And I wasn't ready to write it. I got pushed a little bit by a buddy of mine, Jesse Wayne Taylor, and Creative Vets to, hey, like, let's write this. Like, this is something that I feel like I was struggling with it, and he noticed that I was struggling with it. And he's like, because you're struggling, let's put it on paper. Like, let's say what you're dealing with. And, like I said, I didn't want to write it. When we started, it flowed. It was like those feelings and those emotions that I had pushed for the longest time just kind of came out and just became a song. I don't know really how it happened. But it was just one of those songs that you sit down and everything just kind of starts coming out and flowing. And by the time we got done with it, I didn't want to write it when we started. And by the time we got done with it, it was like a weight was lifted off of my shoulders. And it was like all of everything that I had pushed down and compressed. And it was like, it was out, and I felt lighter when I got done. And it was exactly what I needed when I didn't need it or didn't want it, really. And, but yeah, that song, it's incredibly personal to me. I mean, that song, from the verses of that song is step by step. The first time I ever went to go see my best friend, Adam Hamilton, I went to go see his gravestone for the first time. That is the verses. And the chorus of that song is the conversation, the argument, the venting session, the prayer that I have with God every day about why the hell am I here, and some of the greatest people I've ever known are not. And that is such a universal struggle that so many people deal with, especially in our community of veterans. I mean, that survivor's guilt is huge, and it is so prevalent. And the most incredible part of that whole thing is that song has gone on to help so many people. And not just veterans, but people who have lost anyone. I mean, it's crazy how I get a message almost every day about that song.
Wow.
And a lot of times it's not veterans. There's a lot of veterans that do message me and they're like, man, I didn't know how to tell my family how I was feeling. I couldn't find the words, but your song helped me find the words. Or, I have people who are like, man, I didn't know how to say it, so I just pushed play on your song and they understood. Or, and those are the most amazing things. But then randomly I start getting messages from people who have lost sons and daughters and just anyone who has lost anybody. And they're like, man, like I get this. Like, I never thought that I would ever be able to connect with someone like this. And when a song becomes a way for someone to speak, when a song becomes words that they didn't know how to say, or when it becomes a way for people to feel like they're not alone in their feeling, that's when a song becomes more than a song. And yeah, that's the song that will always be one of the greatest songs I've ever written. It'll always be the hardest song I've ever written, and it will always be the hardest song that I ever perform. And yeah, I'm so thankful for that song. I'm so thankful that I sat down with my buddy Jesse and he pushed it out of me. And I'm so thankful that my best friend Adam Hamilton was in the room that day when we wrote that song.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. Thank you for your courage and your vulnerability to share it. And I think about the thousands and thousands of people you've helped, thousands and thousands of people you will continue to help in the future. And I've said this all along. I mean, music is the language of the soul, right? 100%. And is like music as a way just to get us to a place that we just kind of can't get there through rationale sometimes, right? Or just logical conversation. It's amazing how that works. One more question around this, and it's really the line that kind of like punched me in the gut when I heard it. I'd never heard it put this way before, but it was, tell me, God, did I win or lose?
Yeah.
Why am I here when he's there with you? It's like, I never thought about it in those terms before. And it was just like, whoa. Yeah. Like as you were going through this process, and I appreciate you sharing, like, this is the conversation, this is the venting, this is the prayer, this is the whole thing. Like, is that what was coming out of you during those venting and
yeah, 100%, it was like, man, like how, like, which one of us won? Like,
right.
I have kids and I get to go do things and experience things that I never thought possible, but he's with you. So who won this? When we wrote that, when that line happened, I cried like a baby. we wrote that line, and I was like, we were writing the chorus, and I started crying, and I said, I just don't understand, like, did I win or did I lose? And then I started crying, and he said, we need to put that in the song. And it just kind of came from there. And it's, it's, for me, that is my favorite part of that whole song, without a doubt. So I'm with you. Every time I sing it, I get a little choked up every single time, because it's truly something that I think about all the time. Like, I get to do incredible things that I never thought possible. I mean, like, I've experienced so much life, but did I win in that day? Or, like, because I was shot 10 times. Like, I could not be here. Like, be the fact that I'm still here on earth, did I win or did I lose? Like, the fact that I'm not there, like, how does that work? And how do you tell? And that was that's a question I've struggled with for a long time. And yeah, that song's hard.
Oh, that is incredibly powerful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm going to echo DMAC there. And thank you for sharing that, because I think that a lot of our listeners will also be able to relate to that. And even if it's not that exact line, or they don't have a similar circumstance, the power of that is going to be really, I think, impactful for a lot of people.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's just questioning, like, why am I here and some of the greatest people I've ever known aren't? Like, how is that fair? But yeah, and it's, the most amazing part about that song is that I made my Grand Ole Opry debut not long ago, and I played that song at the Opry. Number one, I went to play sound check, and I bawled like a babe. I couldn't even get through that song. I cried so hard during sound check. And the music director within the Opry was like, Scotty, you sure this is the song you want to sing? Like, like, you had a hard time right there. And I was like, man, there's no other song that I could sing in this moment than this one right here. And it was, the crazy part of it was, like, it wasn't just the song. It was the fact that I was standing in this circle and I was experiencing something that my buddy Adam Hamilton will never be able to experience. Like, in that moment, I was feeling feelings that he will never be able to feel. He will never be able to be in a moment like this ever. And it was just this overwhelming sense of, like, guilt that just kind of took me over. But the most incredible part is I made it through my actual performance, which is honestly, it's a miracle in itself. But when I got done with that song, they showed a picture of Adam Hamilton on the screen.
Oh, cool.
And 16 of Adam's family were in the audience that day when it happened. And it was, it was incredible. Wow. It was without a doubt one of the most meaningful performances I've ever had in my life. It was incredible.
Sure. I want to ask one more question on this before we get to questions from the arena, Doc, if that's okay.
Yep. Yeah, of course.
And it's really around, we talked a lot about, performance and the importance of, an athlete's got to do this too, where sometimes you got to get to neutral. You got to remove emotion so you can execute in the moment. But music to me is different, because if you remove emotion, it's like, well, then it's hard to connect with the artist, right? And hearing you describe that at the Grand Ole Opry, and how, man, you couldn't even make it through sound check.
Yeah.
Now you're in the circle, packed house. Did you know that Adam's family was there or no at the time?
Yeah, I knew that that they were going to be there. I didn't know that it was going to hit me as hard as it did.
Okay, so his family's there, and then you step out, and you're able, at least for 3 minutes ish, be able to, I don't know if it's suppress, disconnect, I don't know what the word is, but you described it as a miracle, but be able to still sing it with the same emotion, but be able to still deliver a beautiful song. Like how do you, like I don't even know my question really, but it's like, how do you manage that?
The most important part about being an artist and going on stage in music is that you never suppress the emotions, ever. If you cry, you cry. You let it happen. The most important part as an artist, as a performer, is that you feel what I'm feeling when I'm singing this song. The quickest way, for me, I'm the same way. I'm a huge music fan. I love going to shows. When I feel like I can connect with that artist that's standing on that stage right there, that is that's the greatest feeling in the world. And for me as an artist, standing on a stage, letting you see my heart and soul, feeling the feelings that I'm feeling in this moment, that is the greatest connection that I can make in that moment. And you don't ever suppress the feelings, whether it's excitement, whether it's heartbreak, no, whatever it is, you feel it to the fullest while you're on stage, and you let the people feel that when you're singing. And that's one of the most beautiful things about music, is that you can share an experience together. You can all share a feeling together, and it's beautiful. Like that's so incredible. But yeah, that's it. You don't suppress that. You let it happen.
And that's why you're calling it a miracle that you didn't break down.
100%. Because afterwards, I got done. I got off the stage. I think it was like at the end of everything. We got off the stage. We had like a little party. And then I got into my truck and I broke down. I sat in the parking spot for an hour and cried. Just the fact that all of that just happened, that Adam's family was there, that I sang this, that I just made my Grand Ole Opry debut, which is, I mean, the Grand Ole Opry is the mountaintop. I mean, if you're a country artist, the Grand Ole Opry is the mountaintop. That is where, if you're playing there, people are recognizing that you're doing something, and it means that what you're doing is working, and it validates everything, all the emotions, all the bad songs, all the great songs, all the freaking hard ass work that is this industry. When you're standing on that stage, it validates all of that. And there's nothing like it in the world. I've never felt feelings like I did when I went on stage at the Grand Ole Opry. And now I'm just chomping at the bit to go back. And I'm like, man, it's time to go. Let's go. Let's go one more time. Like, look, it's just, awesome. It's magic.
That's cool. That's cool. Man, this is such a fun conversation. But one thing that we started doing this year is what we call this segment, Questions from the Arena, which are from 1,200 of our teammates from across the world that we get the opportunity to go in the arena and work with every day. And, awesome. and we let them know, hey, we're talking to Scotty Hasting. What kind of questions you got, right? And they fire them to us, and we kind of comb through them. So we're going to read you just a couple of them. I'd love to get to them all. We're not going to be able to just on time. But I'm going to start out with Ryan's, Doc, and then I'll let you get the next one. So here's what Ryan had to say. Your journey from soldier to archer to musician shows adaptability through different challenges. Mm-hmm. In marketing, Ryan's in marketing. In marketing, I'll often hit creative blocks that feel different from obstacles that can be pushed through with determination alone.
Yes.
So did your experience adapting to such different challenges help with songwriting blocks, or is creative work its own beast? And one more on that. I'm especially curious about the collaborative aspect. Does working with other songwriters change how you approach these creative hurdles?
Yes. Writer's block is a real thing. It's kind of a creative block in itself, right? Like, it's not just writer's block, but there's so many people within different industries that feel this. For me, it has always worked the best when I reach out to somebody. So another artist, another songwriter. I have a really good, an amazing friend here in Doug Johnson, who has basically become family. If I'm having, writer's block or something, I make a phone call and I'm like, man, I'm lost. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. I want to say this, but I don't know how to do it. And usually he helps. I feel like, reaching out to someone can help a lot. And sometimes you can help yourself by just taking a little bit of a break and then coming back to it. Sometimes I'm just hungry, and I need to go eat some food or something. And then I come back and I'm like, it was right here the whole time. Like, what am I doing? Like, duh. And, I think, there's different ways to approach it, but I think you just need to find that way.
Yeah, it's good.
Cool. Yeah. All right. So I have one from Brittany. She wants to know, how has your mindset evolved or grown from entering the U.S. Army to now entering a career in music? So what did you learn in the Army or as a U.S. para archer that has led to your success as a musician?
I have to say, I feel like the Army has truly helped me, not only in archery, but in this industry as well. I feel like the Army taught me work ethic and truly taught me that you have to outwork everybody else. And I think that mindset came from the Army, that mindset to, I want to do this, so I have to push through it because this is where I want to be. I feel like that really was established in the military, but also, it's you in this industry, you have to be mentally tough. And I feel like that was also kind of bred in the military as well. So I feel like the military really set me up, not only for archery, because just as well as I do, archery is way more mentally exhausting and mentally important than physically. And I feel like the military really bred that the ability to be mentally strong. And I feel like it, has kind of helped me throughout life, regardless of what I'm doing.
It's good. Doc, what do we got? We got time for one more before we get to the final question, probably.
Probably. We got to ask Demi's question.
Okay, go
she
for
was
it.
really excited. She was really excited to ask this. It's a little bit long, so bear with me here.
Absolutely.
Demi's question is, as far as getting past no, what are some of the ways that you have faced backlash or not taking no for an answer? And how have you been able to either A, recover from that backlash, or B, ignore that criticism that comes from being more relentless than most people?
Yes, in this industry, you get told no a hell of a lot more than you get told yes. I think the most important thing is, again, the one thing that I hold on to the most is understanding and knowing why I'm doing it. The amount of times that I've been told no by this time, if I didn't have a clear-cut purpose about why the hell I'm here, I don't know if I'd be here. This industry is hard, not only in the work that you have to do, but the fact that you're going to get told no a lot, and you're going to get, there's going to be times when you feel like everything that you're doing doesn't mean anything. And you really just have to hold on to that purpose and the reason why, like for some people, it's just, I want to make great music and I love music and that's the reason why. But for me, it's the fact that I just want to help as many people as possible. And I really, truly hold on to that. And that's what keeps me going and keeps me moving forward.
Cool.
That's great. Scotty, thank you, man. And we wrap up every No Show Dogs interview with the same question. This is the No Show Dogs podcast because it's not about talking about it. It's about being about it, right? It's like we see ourselves as hunting dogs. We see something that has to be done. We just go get it. We don't care if we got to wrap it up and bubble wrap and duct tape. You know what I mean? Like if it looks bad, but it gets the job done, we'll go for it. And so with that kind of idea in mind, the final question is, based on the success you've had right now in your current career, like what have been some of the things that you've been willing to do that others haven't, that you think has helped you have the success you've had to this point?
Oh man, that's a great question. Again, I think my work ethic is the most important thing that I bring to the table, period. I feel like most of the people here at Black River would agree that there's not many artists that will outwork me. I will go out there and I will do whatever I need to do because what I want to do is more important than myself. And I truly think that that's really my biggest thing that I bring to the table is that I'm willing to do whatever it takes and I'm willing to outwork anybody and I'm willing to go and talk to somebody and get rejected 10 times and bug the crap out of them until they say, okay, fine, which is how I got on the stages down on Broadway. I just bugged the crap out of promoters until they put me on stage. What I want to do is more important than any of that. What I want to do is more important than my ego. And what I want to do is more important than the no that I get sometimes. And it just makes me want to push harder and be better and until it becomes a yes. And yeah, I think that that's kind of the most important thing that I bring to the table is that I'm going to outwork everybody else.
Awesome.
That's good. Where can people find you, man? I know people are going to want to.
Yeah. ScottyHasting.com or on all major platforms at Scotty Hasting Music.
Gotcha. Have you released the tour dates yet for 2025?
Not yet.
All right.
We got them coming, but
all right.
Not yet. We have some really, really amazing things happening this year and
cool.
It's going to be awesome.
That's great.
Yeah.
Scotty, thank you so much, man. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Yeah. Doc, first of all, thank you for having the courage to reach out to Scotty, right? Scotty could have David said no. And Scotty, thanks for, trusting us. But again, just Scotty, thanks for your vulnerability, your courage, Absolutely. Man, your willingness to share your soul with the world and all the people that you're helping along the way. And again, we're just so grateful for you taking some time today and just want to wish you the best going forward.
100%. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And Nicole, always great to see you.
Yeah, you too, man.
Absolutely. Thanks for this. Thanks for letting me be a part of this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Take care.
Yeah.